Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our second session of English Language 2 for Media. This is your instructor, Hiba Adil. Okay, today we're going to discuss Unit 1, Part 2, the rest of Unit 1. In our discussion, we're going to cover 3 points. The first point is analyzing newspaper articles. The second point is practicing interview skills. And the last point is planning and writing newspaper articles. Okay, let's first start with analyzing newspapers articles. First of all, we need to discuss the following questions. Which kind of articles do you prefer? Opinion-based or fact-based? How objective are newspapers in your country? Do you know about the political slant of newspapers in English-speaking countries? Okay, the first question, I need you to think, which kind of articles do you prefer? Opinion-based, it means according to your opinion, or fact-based, the one that is based on a fact. The second question, how objective are newspapers in your country? Objective means محايد. So I need, or حيادي, I need your opinion about that. The third or the last question, what do you know about the political slant of newspapers in English-speaking countries? Political slant means الميول السياسية. So this is what I need you to think about. Let's move on to the next slide. In 2005, a shopping center in Britain decided to ban people from wearing hot tops, hoodies. Discuss the following questions. This center in Britain decided to forbid people, يمنع الناس from wearing hot tops. Hot tops, the cap, اللي هي الكاب, أي حاجة مبطنة يغطوا بيها وشهم. Discuss the following questions. Do you think what was the reason for banning hooded tops, and how do you think this might have been reported in the press? Okay, here we have two titles. Reclaim our streets, hoodies and buddies. Under that hoodie is a child like yours. Of course, you can see the difference between the titles. Reclaim our streets, hoodies and buddies. Here, a kind of, or the person who wrote this title is with the banning opinion, مع فكرة المنع. But underline that hoodies is a child like yours. The one who wrote this article or this title is someone who is against this opinion. هو ضد فكرة إني أمنع الناس من إن هم يلبسوا الهودي في centers أو shopping centers. Okay, now we're going to read two headlines. We read these two headlines from the national press, and then we will match these headlines to the articles themselves. Okay, let's see. Article 1. Okay, now this is the first article. I needed to read it carefully. نقراها كويس لأن ممكن تيجي في الامتحان ومحتاجين نعرف كل كلمة معناها إيه. But there's some words I need you to know the meaning of them. في بعض الكلمات عايزين نعرف معناها. In the first line, thugs and muggers. Thugs بمعنى بلطجي، muggers بمعنى حرامي. Also the second line law abiding citizens بمعنى مواطنين ملتزمين بالقانون. الهودي طبعا انتوا عارفين ايه هي الهودي. الهودي اللي هو الكاب اللي بيتلبس وبيغطي الراس تماما. في the same line the third line السطر الثالث في الآخر كده كلمة اسمها يوب أو يوبس بمعنى evil doer أو someone who is doing something bad، حد بيعمل حاجة مش كويسة. up and down يعني في كل مكان. Of course you know the meaning of CCTV. CCTV it means surveillance camera TV. okay. اللي هي كاميرات المراقبة. in the same line في عندنا كمان كلمة terrorize victims. terrorize بمعنى يرهب أو يرعب الضحايا. Let's move on. We have also constant intimidation in the second paragraph. Okay, constant intimidation. The second paragraph, the second line. تاني paragraph اللي هو بيبتدي بكلمة so the decision. السطر التاني constant intimidation بمعنى تهديد دائم. Also we have the next line السطر الثالث كلمة discrimination بمعنى عنصرية. cries هنا cries of discrimination. cries هنا مش بمعنى صيحات، هنا بمعنى اعتراض أو فكرة الاعتراض نفسه. اوكي. في عندنا كمان كلمة armed robberies في السطر أو في الباراجراف الأخير بمعنى السطو المسلح. وفي آخر سطر خالص عندنا a similar scheme in based on Essex مكان led to decrease in shoplifting. نفس الفكرة اتطبقت في المكان ده وأدت إلى إن السرقات من المحلات قلت. Okay, this is the first article and I need you to remember the two titles اللي احنا كنا واخدينهم قبل كده اللي هم كانوا reclaim our streets ولا under the hoodie is a child like yours. طبعا التايتل اللي يمشي مع الباسج دي هو reclaim our streets, hoodies and bodies. Okay, let's move on. This is the second article. Of course, I need you also to read it and know every word of it. You will have some words that you may find it difficult or something. في عندنا كلمة yobishness بمعنى البلطجة. the second paragraph الباراجراف الثاني آخر سطر عندنا كمان كلمة intimidated بمعنى scared في third paragraph أو السطر. في كمان كلمة اللي هي بمعنى anti social بمعنى انطوائي أو شخص مش ضد المجتمع يعني انطوائي شوية. في كمان كلمة anonymity بمعنى unknown بمعنى شخص غير معروف. I need you to read it and read it carefully please. هو هنا the first two lines in your article you will see that the writer wrote questions like does Prince William own a hoodie? Do the Prime Minister's children have these clothes in their wardrobes? I imagine they do because for teenagers they are almost a uniform. Of course, from these two lines we will figure out that the title that match this article is underlined. The hoodie is a child like you. The idea of this article is that the writer against the idea of forbidding hoodie. Um, he claims, or he said, that to confuse antisocial behavior with clothes item worn by everyone from uh, Coldplay singer اللي هو اسمه كريس مارتن to a middle-aged man going to the gym is a mistake. نحن نخلط إن أي حد يلبس الشكل ده he is a mugger or a thug. This is a mistake. واليونيفورم ده أو الشكل ده من اللبس بيلبسوا الناس كلها. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Here are the two titles: Reclaim Our Streets, Hoodies and Buddies, and the other title is under that Hoodies is a kid like you. Which of the following adjectives best describe the slant each of the articles will have? Liberal, or emotive, conservative, reactionary, or neutral. Okay, liberal means متحرر. Emotive بمعنى منفعل أو it makes you emotional أو تنفعل، سواء انفعال عاطفي أو انفعال غضب. The next word معناها محافظ. Reactionary رجعي. Neutral بمعنى محايد. Okay. Okay. The first title is Reclaim Our Streets, Hoodies and Buddies. The adjectives that can be used to describe this article: emotive, conservative, and reactionary. The second title, Under That Hoodie is a Child Like You. The adjectives are liberal and neutral. Again, you need to read these two articles and match the two titles and know the adjectives that can be used to describe the titles and the articles. Let's move on to the next slide. We need to know that the choice of vocabulary can affect the slant of newspaper articles. Look at the following items from the two articles. Here are some items from the two articles. Now we need to decide which words are emotive and which are neutral. As we said before, emotive بمعنى عاطفي، بمعنى إن هي تحفزك. Neutral بمعنى محايد. Muggers. Okay, this word, is it emotive or neutral? See, it's emotive. The second one, ban. Ban is neutral. Intimidated, of course, emotive. Low level disorder, it's emotive. Discrimination, again emotive. Yopes, emotive. Law abiding, this is neutral. Teenagers, neutral. Shoplifting, neutral. Fed up with, emotive. Crime epidemic, emotive. Weapon, of course, this is another neutral word. Terrorize, emotive. Outsider, emotive. Okay, I need you to know how we can use these words and to concentrate on this exercise. Let's move on. Now we need to make a list of the words the journalists use to refer to young people and crime. First, we will take young people from these two articles or the previous two articles. Kids, teenagers, children, and youth. These words can be used to refer to young people. How about crime? Okay, crime, we can use terrorize victims, muggers, thugs, yopes, robberies, and shoplifting. Let's move on. And attackers, intimidating also. So these words can be used to describe or to refer to crime. Terrorize victims, muggers, thug, yopes, robberies, shoplifting, attackers, and intimidation. Another exercise that is related to these two articles. Here we are going to read the articles again and decide if the following sentences are true or false. All teenagers wear hoodies. Is it true or false? Of course, this is false. Not all of them wear hoodies. Prince William has definitely got a hoodie. This is false. We don't know for sure. The Prime Minister thinks that banning hoodies is a good idea. According to his point of view, yes, this is true. In some areas of the country, more than 50% of the robberies are committed by people wearing hoodies and baseball caps. Okay? According to the statistics, yes, this is true. Sentence number 5. According to the writer of the second article, most people let gangs of kids do as they want. Is it true? Yes, according to the next article. Number 6, both articles see connection between young people feelings alienated from society and the wearing of hoodies. False, the second article only illustrated this idea. Okay, alienated بمعنى غريب عن أو بعيد عن. Okay, let's move on to the second or the next slide. Here we're going to discuss cohesion techniques in writing articles. Cohesion بمعنى التماسك أو the unity, bond, linkage, الروابط. Okay, here are your cohesion techniques. The first technique is the use of personal pronouns. In every article you will find these pronouns, personal pronouns. I, they, he, she, it. It's important to use them. Word groups or synonyms like hoodies and baseball cap. These two words are synonyms. الاثنين يعني بنفس المعنى. Also the use of linking words, كلمات الربط, but yet, furthermore, moreover, these kinds of linking words you will find it definitely in every article. Also the omission of words that can be understood or clear from the previous text or context. Um, like it is true that hoodies and caps provide anonymity for those up to no good. those اللي هم الناس اللي مش هتعمل كده أو لابسة الهودي. The use of passive form instead of repeating. فكرة إني أستخدم passive أو الشكل المبني للمجهول. Of course, the use of the articles a and the to show the new and known information, the judge, the criminal. The use of collocations, for example, sentenced to, caused of, found guilty. The use of word groups, for example, the judge sentenced the criminal. This is a kind of another cohesion technique that we can use in writing articles. These techniques are very important. I need you to focus on them and know them carefully. Okay. About cohesion of writing articles, here is an exercise. Match the cohesion techniques from 1 to 4. 2 examples from the articles A to D. Okay, here are the cohesion techniques and the examples. Let's read them together. The first cohesion technique, use of personal pronoun. Number 2, word groups or synonyms. Number 3, use of linking words. Number 4, omission of words that can be understood from the previous text or context. And the articles or the examples from the articles. Number A, it is true that hoodies and capes provide anonymity for those up to no good. Number B, some hoodies may even have bought at the Blue Water shopping center in Kent, which banned the wearing of hoods and baseball caps in its center. Number C, the Prime Minister backed the decision. He said, I agree with it. Number D, yet to blame all this on clothes is too simplistic. Now, I'll give you a minute or something to think and match each technique or each cohesion technique with its example. Okay, let's try to match each cohesion with the example. The use of personal pronoun. Which example can be related to it or an example for this cohesion? Yes, sentence number C. The Prime Minister said or backed the decision. He said, I agree with it. Okay, word groups or synonym. Number B, some hoodies may even have bought at the Blue Beater shopping center in Kent, which banned the wearing of hoods and baseball caps in its center. Use of linking words. Yeah, number D, yet. This is the linking word. To blame all this on clothes is too simplistic. And finally, Number 4 will match number A. Omission of words that can be understood from the previous context or text. It is true that hoodies and caps provide anonymity for those up to no good. This is we omit mugs and thugs here. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Here, some grammatical features. First of all, we need to put the words in the correct order to form a question. So, to form a question is very important for you, and I need you to focus on that. Okay, these are the words: last, how long, the postgraduate course, did. Okay, first of all, we need to know how to form a question. To form a question, we need a question word, and then an auxiliary, and then the subject and the main verb, and then the rest of the question. عشان أكون سؤال محتاج أداة الاستفهام question word, auxiliary الفعل المساعد, السبجكت الفاعل, المين verb الفعل الأساسي, وفي الآخر بحط باقي الجمل. طيب إيه هي هنا question word الموجودة؟ طبعا how long did the postgraduate course last؟ ادي كده ال question. This is the form of the question. Let's try to cut it to pieces. هنقطعه بقى ل question word, auxiliary, subject, main verb, and the rest of the question. Question word, yes, how long? The auxiliary, of course, did. The subject, the postgraduate course, and the main verb, last, and there is no rest for the question. Another question that we need to form, or another words that we need to form a question from: enjoy, the position, did you? Okay, see, here we don't have a question word because this is yes no question, سؤال بهل. Okay, did you enjoy the position? Question word, there is no question word. We will begin with the auxiliary, did. The subject is you, main verb, enjoy, the position is the rest of the question. Number 3, as head of the press office, continue, will you? Another yes no question. Will you continue as head of the press office? No question word again. We will begin with the auxiliary, will, the subject you, continue, this is the main verb, and as head of the press office is the rest of the question. Number 4, a new position, looking for, are you? Another yes no question. Are you looking for a new position? Again, we don't have a question word. Our auxiliary is are, the subject is you, the main verb, looking for, and the rest of the question, a new position. Number 5, newspapers during your career changed, have. Another yes no question. Have newspapers changed during career? No question word. And the first auxiliary, yeah, have newspapers, this is the subject, main verb, and during your career is the rest of the question. Would you, the present newspaper market, how in the UK describe? Would you, how would you describe the present of the newspapers in the UK? How, the auxiliary would, the subject is you, describe is the main verb, and the rest of the verb, the rest of the question, the present of newspapers in the UK. Coming to the end is the area of print newspaper. Coming to an end is the area, okay, is the area of printing newspaper coming to an end? Is the area of printing news or print newspaper coming to an end? Is your media inspiration who? Who is your media inspiration? Your question word, we have a question word here, who, and your auxiliary is. Your, this is the subject, and inspiration. This is, there is no, here we don't have a main verb. For people, any advice have, do you? Do you have any advice for people? There is no question word. Your auxiliary is do, you. The main verb is have. Any advice for people? Okay, now we know how to form a question, a WH question, or a question with a question word, or yes no question. So we have two kinds of or two types of questions: a questions that begins with question words or WH questions, and a questions that is or questions that are beginning with yes no or auxiliary. They begin with the auxiliary, and we can answer them with yes or no. Let's move on. Okay, if you remember, I told you that we're going to discuss two topics or 2 points in this session. The first session the first topic was about analyzing newspaper articles, and the second one was practicing interview skills. Okay, we have some interview skills and techniques that we need you to know about. First of all, you need to divide your interview into introduction. If somebody interrupts you, how can you answer him? If you are hesitating, what can you say? Asking for details. If somebody asks you about something and you need to be more detailed or to be more focused. Okay, the first part is the introduction. How to introduce yourself or how to make an interview skill. How do you do? You can use this question. Nice to meet you. This is another sentence. I am glad to see you, or you will present yourself. I am, and you say your name. Pleased to meet you. These sentences and this question, how do you do? We can use these techniques to introduce ourselves in an interview. Okay, in the interview, someone may interrupt you. How you can manage this thing? ازاي اقدر اتحكم في حاجة زي كده in the interruption في المقاطعة او المداخلة. You can say hold on, I will explain this later. Could I just say something? ممكن تقول this sorry, but this question can be answered later. Can I interrupt for a moment? This question, can I interrupt for a moment? You are the interviewer. انت اللي بتعمل المقابلة وعايز تعمل interruption. This question can be used to make interruption. Hang on a minute. This phrase, you can use this phrase to stop the speaker and try to understand something from him. Sorry, sorry to interrupt again, but أنا آسف لو أنت عملت interruption كذا مرة. So interruption is the job of the interviewer. دي وظيفة اللي متلقي. هو اللي بيعمل interruption to ask question, to identify something, or to clarify something. So these phrases and these questions you can use to make interruption in an interview. Okay, hesitating. Sometimes we hesitate in the interview. How we can manage that? You can use, well, I'll explain. This information is old for all of us. I mean, if you think that you are vague or no, not vague, you are not clear, you will say, I mean, to clarify yourself. So, to say a result, right? This word can be used, and okay. The last section is asking for details. You make an interview and somebody is going to ask, of course, somebody will ask you for details. What can he say? What exactly do you mean? He can't say that. Could you be more specific? خليك دقيق أكتر أو منطقي أو محدد أكتر. Why do you say that? I'm asking for the reasons. So all these things are techniques and skills that can be used in the interview. Okay, the last point that we're going to cover in this session is planning and writing a newspaper. How to write, or how to plan first and then write a newspaper article. Okay. We have some steps that we should follow to write a newspaper article. The first step is to brainstorm the topic. What do I mean by that? I mean to write down ideas connected to the articles. So this is the first step. The second step is to research the story. We have to make a research to write a well newspaper article. Number 3, we need to plan. I mean to organize and paragraph our ideas. Number 4, write the introduction. Now we're going to start with the writing. Write the introduction first. Then we're going to write the main body of the article. Finally, we're going to write the conclusion. And to make sure that your article is flawless, you need to check your article for mistakes. These are the 7 steps for writing newspaper article. Thank you for your attendance for today. Thank you for listening. If you want to ask me any questions, feel free to contact me by email, and this is my email. Thank you for listening.